Hey, people. We got to 50 episodes. I don't know how we did it, to be honest. We just did a lot of really boring bonus episodes in between that somehow you guys watched. We did a 4-hour episode. The fact, looking back, that we actually did that is still shocking to me. But I'm here with Zack. Hello, Zack.
Hey,
and
I don't remember any of these episodes. So to me, this is like number 3. That's all I remember.
And
I remember Justice League and nothing before.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Lucas and Zack podcast 50th episode Jugband Jubilee celebration.
This is a really sweet surprise. You did not prepare me with this name, but it's perfect.
It's a great name because it's way too involved and it has too many words, but it's also every word is awesome. And the image in the background it's just a wonderful 50, and it says 50 and still great or something. I don't remember what dumbass picture says. I looked it up for 30 seconds. Also, I'd like to point out for all people in the audience that, you know, the traditional gift for 50th anniversary is gold. And I tried, let me see if I don't think there is a gold. Is there a gold color? That's yellow.
Well, I mean, people are way behind. They still have to give us like the oak for our 5-episode anniversary. The steel. When is your steel anniversary?
Isn't it tin? Isn't like 10 years the tin anniversary?
That seems way too on the nose. They should have been a lot more creative than doing 10 for 10.
All right, I'm gonna Google this right now as we do our boring thing. 10 anniversary is the 10th anniversary.
Okay, I got my first is paper, second is cotton. Where's my 11. Cotton swabs, people? I guess there are 2 years. People start sending me some Lucas and Zack podcast themed cotton swabs.
Leather. I'd like some. I mean, if we could get some chaps, some Lucas and Zack themed chaps, that'd be nice.
Fruit or flowers.
I mean, you could just sell me in.
That's my current upcoming wedding anniversary. I should get fruit or flowers. I will not buy her both. I'm just gonna buy her a mango.
They're cheaper fruit than a mango. Let's be real for a second.
I like 6 is candy or iron. So I'm just going to get 8 iron. Or maybe like an iron-shaped candy. How's those your 2 options? It's candy or iron. Oh my gosh, 18th is appliances.
I like how I just appreciate that what that really says is that by the time you've had your 18th anniversary, you've given up on the relationship, so you just want to apply it.
This has to be so made up. The 20th is just China. Oh, I was thinking China, the country. Like I just got it.
It's actually like a trip to China.
And then they're just like themes. It's fire, water, air.
Yeah.
This is a great episode where we just go over all the types of anniversaries.
Yes,
48 home improvements. That means fix your fucking kitchen. You've been in this house for 48 years.
Oh, the joys. Yes, but welcome in. We're doing a Q&A for our 50th episode to reward our lovely viewers that we had to badger into sending us questions because none of them sent me, only 2 of them sent me questions when I asked for them initially. Yeah.
We have questions.
We do have questions. I'm going to start with.
I asked people in the street, "What do you want to ask the Lucas and Zack podcast?" And they said, "Who the fuck are you?"
And then they called the cops on you and said, "There's a man asking for questions."
Keep your 6 feet, please.
Sir, your mask is below your nose. Please put it back up. So we're going to start.
I'm sorry, I rubbed naked against a vaccinated person. I'm good.
That's still one of my favorite stories. There's like a weird conspiracy theory that if you hugged somebody who had been vaccinated, that the vaccine would shed off them. I'm not really sure. I don't think they ever got to the point of determining what type of biological specimen this shedding would occur in. Is it like skin? I don't know if people don't know. Skin doesn't really, it's not really a way to transfer a virus, but whatever.
I mean, because I'm scared of shots, I just make Sarah brush her hair on me like a paintbrush on my chest every morning. And I think I'm good for the day.
I can see this happening. All right, we've done a bunch of weird stuff. We're gonna start the Q&A episode with what I'm gonna call the Nazario and Mike overpost on our post session. So Nazario Montenegro and Mike Hanley have been previous guests on the show, both wonderful people who are also
founders of the channel.
On this YouTube channel, of course, asked a lot of questions. I don't know if we can answer any of them because a lot of them seem more like they were jokes made for their own point than actual questions. Well, we'll try. The first question comes from Mike, and the question is, what is the biggest impact that you guys' podcast has had in the community? And the answer is nothing.
No. Consecutivity, is that a word? The endurance and durability, and now we're inspiration for the people who do 2 podcasts and are out.
This is true. We actually are legitimately in like another 6 months might have the longest running podcast in the entire community because we don't miss a single episode, and in fact, we produce bonus episodes while everybody else
does. This to you. I'm giving up in like 2 weeks. 52 and out.
I'm just telling you this, buddy. We have episodes scheduled, so I will get a Zack puppet and do the show with him. I also think probably maybe the biggest impact is just we kind of hit the Oscar stuff first before anybody else did, both times, even discussion of it, and I think that may have been our biggest impact. We also hit the Snyder Cut harder than anybody else did, so I feel like that's kind of our 2 big moments of recent years. Sure. Mike says, "Are you planning on branching out in any way?" And I think I can answer this for both of us.
Like socially?
No.
Join new clubs?
I think he meant in terms of the podcast, and I think the answer is no. I think we like the amount we're doing right now, and we started adding more reviews, which is good. Like you'll see more reviews like the Without Remorse review continuing like every month.
Isn't that us branching out? That's we already started to branch.
We already started doing it, but that's like I guess
I
don't think you and me are going to start doing 2 episodes a week or extra spin up. Like we just don't have the time for that. I feel like we're near or very close to capacity for the amount of podcasts we can produce in any given time period. I think we're at capacity. I think just like the regular 1 a week episode and then some occasional reviews thrown in or special episodes is kind of where we see ourselves. This is not a full-time job. So if this became a full-time job, maybe we produce more, but I don't think this podcast will ever get us to the point.
If we get to the, $1,000 Patreon subscribers, just $1,000 Patreon subscriber monthly, and I can branch out.
Let's not shoot ourselves that low. If we get to like 20K a month, maybe we'll go full time.
20K a month, and I'm fucking retiring.
I just like to consider us a little better than you. The next question is a really important question. It comes from Mike Hanley again, and the question is, who is better, Zack or Luke?
Lucas.
I think Zack is better, to be honest.
Thank you. We're very nice. This is the nicest we've ever been.
No, but I also just think this works because of the pairing. This is not a show that I think, like, I don't think that anyone has gotten through 50 episodes and like, I like one of them and not the other. They should replace one of them. I think it's the combination of the 2 of us that has worked as a show for 50 episodes, and the fact that we're able to work behind the scenes, having discussions, planning stuff out, and just kind of like making everything run really smoothly. It's one of the reasons that I think we've gotten to 50 episodes. It's just you and me we have a lot of very similar interests. So when it comes to podcast topics, you will suggest something, and we don't usually start that far apart, which makes it easy to schedule multiple months at a time.
I really say you because you're more consistent and you can play injured better than me. Days that I'm not feeling it, you can tell.
Well, that's because the days I'm injured, we literally just cancel shows. So you actually try to play injured. I'm just like, I'm out.
I show up to an Oscar show and go, oh, it's my turn to speak. Okay.
Hey, I mean, at least you're like, during the Oscar show, you were critical of yourself. And I think you were like just you were a 3-point shooter. You go stand in the corner and I throw you the ball and you hit the shot. That's all you did that entire episode, and it worked.
I just need like a shot caller every now and then to remind me that we're actively podcasting.
Well, I was the only one of the 3 of us who was actually staring directly into the camera the entire time. Rosario Montenegro dropping in to say, did any episodes of the podcast count as an M ranked, which is the show that Rosario and Mike do? And the answer is no. This is our fucking show. Get your own show.
If it does, they fucked up because they just did their 100th. So it would be their 150th.
Cheers.
So they missed it. No, it's our own show. We're actually taking over. Your show does count as episodes of Lucas and Zack podcast. So happy 150th episode of Lucas and Zack podcast.
Mike Hanley, what do you have planned for the next 50 episodes? More stuff? More of the same?
Honestly, we might have this legitimately planned out.
No, we don't have that many more episodes planned out.
We have 10. We have 10. Next 10.
We have the next 13 planned out.
Yeah.
We have up to episode 64 planned out, and that does not include potential reviews. At least like 4 extra reviews. It could be nearly 68 episodes by the end of June. Yeah, it's just more of the same. I think there is potential that we could be looser with topics, be looser with ideas. But in terms of like actively changing the show significantly from what it's been, I think we both enjoy what it is and don't see a reason to make a massive change. I mean, we added in building months around new releases. That was kind of the new thing recently. It's just been like starting in June and July, we're building the topics around a new release that we can also talk about. And that way to try to just bring a little relevance and make our podcast more of the talk of the moment. Well, besides that, I don't think you see anything big going forward.
No. I mean, because we've discussed it and we threw out ideas to get a little different, and then we just kind of decided to go back to our roots and ignore expanding more than we need to. We decided we were just like, changing something that didn't need to be changed.
Yeah. I mean, I could see a scenario where we do a 2 months on a topic if we don't have a month that has a specific movie we could tie it to. I'd be willing to do that. But like, unless we see that happening, I think that's like a more of a, rather than like a change in the show overall choice, that's a looking at specific scheduling timelines and making a choice. I would say one thing that would interest me going forward is I have thought about it. I think it would be cool at some point to tackle a franchise. I just don't know which franchise would fit the best into our show's frame.
Well, we're getting slightly into that in 2 months.
Yeah, but I mean, actually covered an entire fight.
Yeah, I would not. The book only one I would ever do is Toy Story or Muppets. That's something I'm interested in.
I think for me would be like the most important thing for me, more than any just being super interested, would be to be picking a franchise that is not covered by 100 other podcasts. Like, would it be fun to talk about Star Wars or MCU? Sure. But also 100 other shows have already done entire watch throughs of those entire things. We're not adding anything to the conversation. We're not adding anything to the conversation about Harry Potter. Maybe a rare franchise would be more interesting. Maybe something that is just not. It would have to be something lesser in terms of
2 months on Police Academy movies. Got ya.
I don't think either of us wants to do 2 months on Police Academy.
No, the first one's bad.
I've not seen a Police Academy, so maybe all of them. Rosario Montenegro asks, when will you do a View Askew marathon?
That word is made up, and I refuse to acknowledge this as an actual thing. It
is a pretty goofy looking thing. I'd probably not. I mean, there's a potential that one of the movies could slip into a topic. I don't think you and me are big enough fans of that as a franchise to want to go through all of them.
No, when they rename it, maybe, but I refuse to acknowledge that as a name because it's dumb.
All right, valid. Let's keep going. Mike Hanley asks, when are you doing a Spielberg or Kurt Russell filmography? And the answer is no to Spielberg, because other podcasts have existed of the entire thing. Is a potential that a Spielberg movie could end up in a topic, as we have done before with The Terminal, but I don't think we'd ever do a full Spielberg thing. Maybe, I don't know, depending.
Personally, I have some Spielberg roles I need to cover. So personally, I might do a filmography, but not on a show. Which means anytime I do a marathon, it does lightly get covered on the show as far as like we watch it, or when we do our most recently watched Letterboxd.
Yeah. Kurt Russell?
Possibly Starman, man. I fucking love Starman.
I think there's a potential maybe sometime in the future, but it would have to occur after I'm just not very well acquainted with his entire filmography to the point where I don't think I could feel comfortable starting a marathon, because I've seen like the major highlights, but nothing even beyond like the first 4 or 5 most famous films.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm usually more open to exploring ones we haven't seen as much than you, just because I'm a risk taker and you like to play it safe and have one person. But I would say why I would be open to Kurt Russell's because there's at least 2 that aren't the super covered Kurt Russell movies that I like. I think I have stuff to say and I have takes, which would be Starman, and I'm much more into death proof than the average like Tarantino fan, I would think it would be an interesting episode.
I actually do like Death Proof. I like him in Death Proof too.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we got questions about, are we going to change the name of the podcast? I don't think so.
I mean, we probably should, but we're not.
We're lazy. We're lazy. I don't deal with that problem. Jim Green hopping in asking, what moment do you hope to see in a moment from the old Trivia Days series that occurs on this channel? This is actually a good question because we both played online trivia for a while. What is a moment?
Do we pay attention enough to everything
that's the real question.
They hit all the good memes.
They hit some good ones. I don't know if they hit the moment. There was a moment where somebody, I don't remember who it was, in a match challenged a question for being too hard. I think that would be pretty funny. I feel like the problem is with all this stuff is the famous moments are the famous moments for a reason, and everything else kind of falls by the wayside, and that's why it's harder to pick one. Andrew James Barr jumps in to say, what is the most unconventional pizza topping that people should give a try? Which is actually a good question. Thoughts on pizza toppings? Unconventional pizza topping.
I am a adventurous eater, and I would eat pretty much anything. I don't think I've had a pizza with a weird... I mean, I guess I consider everything conventional at a point because I probably have eaten if it's been around. We do have one of those pizza places in Madison that like makes like all the weird pizza flavors, like macaroni and cheese, and there's other things. I don't know. I would put a fucking couch on it. I'll eat that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I feel like I don't eat any pizza. I think my biggest problem is I don't eat any pizzas that are that out there. So, like, I don't have a good answer for.
See, I'm the opposite. I would, and I just don't consider them out there.
Fair.
I want some octopus pizza. That's just kind of mine. I haven't had it. I want that right now, though.
That's an interesting. I would be willing to try that. Yeah, I don't have a good answer. I'm sorry, James.
I want Professor Octopus pizza. Only octopuses that have degrees are allowed to be on my pizza, and then it'll be tasty. And I'll learn from osmosis.
Andrew James Barr's final question, and the final question of this quick post section is, do you believe in miracles? Which is clearly a quote from the film Miracle. Do you believe in miracles, Zach?
Everything that happened in my life, I earned through my grit and will. Everything is deserved. I make my life. I don't know. Fuck, sure. Not miracles.
I don't believe in miracles. A man makes his own luck. Billy Zane.
I believe it. Can we only speak in Billy Zane quotes the rest of the day?
It's a great quote. It's an all-time great quote. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of miracles. All right, let's jump into the deeper questions that we got coming in. Let's see what we got. So the first question is from Michael Campbell, who after vigorous negotiation with the Lucas and Zack podcast legal team was told he could not ask questions referring to the size of any part of our body or
is it our wrist? He just wanted to know our wrist width.
Man was really interested in the size of our thumbs. So after that, he finally settled on a question that will require me to do a little bit of research, which is we are both in a group chat that we will occasionally reference at times. A lot of the guests for this podcast have come from the same group chat. And he wanted you and me, to go through the group chat and say what was our first impression of each of the members was, as I should have had this already open. All right, let's talk.
Oh, man, I'm a super judgmental person. So 95% I was like, jackass. Try hard.
I like to put out you took away my admin status and you never gave it back, and I think that's quite rude to you. I feel like if you should change it back right now as a spirit of goodwill.
Okay, I got you. Block. I legit don't know if I know how. Wait, how is Michael Campbell
I don't know. You should take that away and make me an admin. We're much more normal. It's literally our chat.
There's someone named Lucas Appleby, friends with Thomas Ains, only him. Should I make him an admin?
No, don't do that.
Luca Brasi, isn't that the Godfather character?
I don't know. No, just go to the chat. What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, do you want to learn how to do this in life?
Oh, I got it.
This is great podcasting, by the way.
Okay. You're
Thank you. You should take Michael's away because let's be real. That's the dangerous problem. That's the problem we need to have.
I don't know if he realizes he has. Okay.
Beautiful. All right, let's
name somebody.
All right, we're gonna start at the top of the list. Zach Ford. So I'm gonna tell you my first impression of you, which is that this is the thing about this. I'll be honest, this is gonna be a question that's gonna be less interesting than most. I don't have a really big first impression. I just remember you were just like somebody in the league and you liked Muppets. Like that was like literally the totality of my remembrance of you, like the first time that you came along.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I wasn't a powerful presence. I just like slowly grew to where it felt like I was always around.
Yeah, I don't
But
think you
then,
ever tried to like take
like,
over. You
announce
never tried to
myself
take.
because yeah. To me,
Yeah,
you were a internet troll that commented on boards for no reason. When sometimes it's okay to just be quiet.
yeah, that's
Back in
valid.
your old schmo down days.
Oh, never speak of those again. I remember. Okay, we got Paul Oyama is the next one. How did I meet Paul?
Paul reached out to me, so I was
Did you
chosen
really?
as the lucky one. I do believe in miracles because the great Paul Oyama seeked out me with the message saying, "Hey, I've been watching your shows, and I'm interested in your takes and stuff." So this is just a humble brag that Paul Oyama is inspired by me. I made him the person that he is. So
I think
so my impression is like outgoing people unlike me, willing to like seek out people, and so kind of that. Otherwise, like he came in pretty strong as like a dominant trivia player, so there's like an intimidation factor. But
yeah, I think Paul and Michael right next to the reason I became friends with them was because we both really liked Dan Merle, who was this guy who used to be working for Screen Junkies. We just liked him as a personality, and I think that was particularly where our fandom came in. Do you have a first remembrance of Michael? Because my remembrance for Paul and Michael is, I think, very similar.
Michael and me was the one who was like so active in conversations but never appeared on camera. So I definitely thought like something was up with him. There's like a reason he didn't want to appear.
That's good. I like that. Cody, I remember Cody was a bit of a hothead and he was like a Boston fan. That was my first remembrance of Cody. Was probably yelling at somebody on something.
Yeah.
Nice dude.
I played Cody in his first match on the Fan Leagues. He was teamed
really?
up with I can't remember the guy's name, something like Glasner. It was a team match back when I was on the Muppets team.
It was a team that was pretty terrible, for being honest.
Yeah, well, we beat them because Cody's not good at trivia. So mine was like amateur.
He was especially bad, like in the early days. Like he's gotten a lot better.
This is like, I don't think Cody watched movies until he became part of the community. And then he started taking it more seriously. So my impression was like, this is one of the like amateurs. I want to be part of the movie community where they only watch MCUs. That's half of my impressions of these people in the chat, probably. Like you don't really like this.
Jim Green definitely thought he was a troll.
I still think he's a troll.
I think Jim Green is just like one of these people that you know him originally, and you're like everything you see of him is just him commenting on Sports Center sites and just fighting with people, and you're like, that seems like his life.
Yeah, he doesn't know this, but we can't call him future guest hopeful Jim Green.
Oh, breaking news. Caleb Coho. I remember Caleb Coho because he made this video where he like tried to talk shit. And it was really embarrassing and really sad and outdated, and we all mocked him. And I think he basically
12.
It was not a good look. He tried like way too hard. I think over time he just really grown to me as a person because he's like a really genuinely nice person. But the initial response to him was just like this super fake, try hard, wannabe bad guy, like in the early days.
It was very like school musical kid performances of it all. That was real irritating. But I think what really gained my respect for Coho is how much he like battled through that. Like it was like pretty out in the open and blatant, like almost aggression towards like back towards what he was giving off. And Coho just kind of like fought through it. He like made some adjustments to what he was doing. It was like he took as like honest criticism and improved himself as a screen persona. And I think just how like chill he kind of took it. He never seemed like he got defensive about it, which is respectable.
Yeah, no, that's actually like a sign of like pretty decent maturity too. To like you take a real swing and you really miss, and then he really could have gotten super defensive and fought back, but he like kind of fixed it and made it a more interesting character. Nazario Montenegro. These people. I'm sorry. Sometimes I just don't have. I don't remember when I met Nazario. I just don't remember meeting him.
I have never appeared on screen with Nazario. Never played together. I actually never met him, so I can have no take.
This is fair. Chance Ellison. I think it was just like some random call, and it was just like, oh, he's a cool dude. I think I missed his like introduction to it. I don't think I was like I've had periods in and out of some of these communities, and I think that Chance was kind of his emergence was in a period that I was not really interacting, and so I kind of missed the initial, and just after the fact was like, oh yeah, this is a cool dude. He's just fun to hang out, chill dude, fun to joke around with. Nice guy.
Yeah, I knew Chance from the Schmodown Reaction League. And I watched some of his videos, but he was one of the like dominant personas on there, and like because there's a few people that would like reach out to everyone and like their videos and seem like really active in it. So I was like, oh, you really care about this. But also he cheated every match, and he still cheats every day. And I don't believe he actually seen the movie.
Wow, hot takes.
That's why he wears glasses. There's something happening in those glasses.
Mike Hanley, my first remembrance of Mike Hanley is the first time I ever saw him on camera was he had like a truly insane beard. Like it was way bigger than it is today. It was like full on like Viking style. And I think that's the only thing I remembered about him was just the fact that he had this massive beard.
I think Mike Hanley gives off the idea that he wants to give off. It's just he definitely looks like he worked at a Blockbuster.
Yep.
And like that's where his ambitions and dreams lied.
Loves the Blockbuster. Brooklyn Vale was one of these people that I think my first introduction to him was just it was totally bit related. His bit was he was always giving people sandwiches and like sandwich related stuff bits. I think it was the only thing I knew about him when like he joined the chat. It was just sandwich related sandwich stuff, and he's funny. That was like. And I think over time, you learn more about him, and he's a nice dude, fun guy to talk about it. It's got some wacky takes in music.
Yeah.
Interesting takes in the genres of movies, which we have beefed about before, but
Yeah, I think Brooklyn is one of those people who's just very open with how he wants to be perceived. I think right away he's like, I like music, I like food. And it's just like you can tag him with a couple of things. He can like kind of self-label himself as the food guy or the music guy. Even though I'm still out for the title, I'm going to become the music guy, and Brooklyn's just going to become the music amateur the way it deserves.
Jake Marangoni was a guy I think I just started playing trivia with, and then realized really quickly is one of the just best dudes. So fun to talk to, funny, interesting. Has some whack takes like we all do, but like Jake's one of the best. We need more Jakes in the community.
Jake is one of the ones that I have no idea how I like came to be aware of him. He's just someone that seems like he's always existed out there. Yeah, for sure.
Caleb Boatman was.
You have like 10 more.
I know we're getting through it, but Caleb Boatman was just like I knew he was good at trivia. That was the entire thing when I think I interacted with him the first time. Like I don't remember a lot about the other interactions. I think it was like honestly, legitimately, one of those people that I knew who he was, and we didn't have an actual conversation for like 6 months to a year.
Yeah, another person that came out with some real musical kid energy, like really tried to do something on screen, but at least he like I don't know he didn't receive the negative feedback that Coho had at all, but instead he just came like own his energy. It became a very specific form of it that people is I think part of how Multiplex grew in audiences because people just liked what he was bringing as a host. So it's kind of admirable. He's honestly started as one of the real hosts energy and quality to him that brought something different to the show. Yeah.
Robert Parker.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Definitely wanted for crimes in 5 to 6 countries.
Yeah, I refuse to acknowledge that name. Since he canceled our podcast, he decided I'm never going to do a podcast with Zack. And he just sent me a handwritten letter, and all it said is, I don't like you. And then signed Robert Parker, but in like magazine letters that he cut out.
Matt Queller is next. I actually really like Matt Queller. I have no idea when the first time I met him was. Genuine nice dude. Had him on the podcast. Would have him back. No idea when the first time we met was.
I think I met him by playing him in trivia, but he's just one of those like. Well, I kind of feel like my original persona was just like under the radar. Someone's just like there, and they just slowly like evolve into being more part of the community. But he's not, the most dominant personalities in the community, which is, sometimes for the better.
Yes,
he's just chill and can handle himself maturely.
Yeah. Jacob London's been around since the beginning. I think my biggest connection to him is that we were both around in the really beginning and had to suffer through a lot of craziness, turmoil, and toxic and terrible personalities.
Before I was part of any of the trivia things, and I was just like desperate to get started, I drunk messaged Jake, and I could talk to you about Jacob London, and I could tell you about that off screen. But he did. My first communication ever was me sending a long, drunk, instant message, climbing into his DMs.
Look at that, slide into those DMs. And then Kane McMillan was another person that I really like and is a really nice dude, and I have no idea the first time we interacted with each other.
He like appeared out of nowhere on like the multiplex crew. They just
he was just one of those people that like just kind of happened. All right,
I forget he's part of our chat though, so weird.
Yeah, he's just like he's a super like low key dude. He kind of he does his thing and then he shows up every 6 months. Second
now you gotta rank them. Who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite?
No, yes,
don't do that.
We're not doing that. Caleb Bowman coming in, previously mentioned. He asked a 2-part question. What movie character are you most like?
This is a hard question that no one answers right. And if you're asked, the same like my thoughts on personality tests is you should never take a personality test. You should have everyone else that knows you well take a personality test and then sum up the answers.
Yeah,
about you, because you're often answering how you want to be perceived and not how you actually are. Same with movie characters. People are going to answer with how they want to be perceived rather than who they really are. So I gotta think deeper. I mean, my usual go-to answer is I'm the kid who spent semen on the library books and Squid and the Whale.
Oh my god.
Based on life circumstances, not on our masturbation habits. My mom's like, should I finally listen to a show and I should just like time stamp this and send this to her?
No, you really don't. Damn, I don't know.
I'm a lot like the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
This is always such a hard question to answer.
I need this is what you should have sent them ahead to me because I need 24 hours to prep an answer to this.
I should have. No, you're right. I should have said answer.
I mean, like the boring answer for me is why I relate so much to the movie High Fidelity, which is my favorite movie. It's just the sense of reflection that is done through this like very organized like concrete system of how you think about your life, which for that is like ranking things. But I think the whole movie is about him like self-evaluating his past, self-evaluating, his own role in his relationships. And that's just kind of how I like constantly function. I like combination of insecurity, but also like willingness to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, I don't have a good one here. Patrick Bateman without the murder? I don't know.
I mean, deep down, I'm a lot like Billy Elliot. I just want to dance. My coal mining family won't let me.
I got you. The second question is, what part of the question is, which character do you think the other is most like?
Okay, let me think of someone douchey.
Wow. You want to just take a shot at me?
Let me look at all my movies I've liked in the past 100 years. We're going to have 30 seconds of silence. Everyone, think about your favorite moments.
I don't have a question. I genuinely, you're right. We should have prepared more for this. And this is not a question we can answer off the cuff. I'm gonna say you're like his name. I'm gonna look this up now.
You're the guy in Dazed and Confused who like is probably like a Nazi and just like punches the Jewish character.
Like because
I
almost said Matt Damon in School Time, and then remember he's an anti-Semite. I think you're like Zack character in Christmas in Connecticut.
I'll take it. That's all. That's like my dream. Catastrophe. I think if you played football and lived in the 70s, you would have some real Ryan Gosling to Remember the Titans energy.
All right, I'll take it. Let's continue on to Robert Parker, who wants to know, what are your lightest and shallowest secrets? I'll start. I dye all my hair. It's not actually this color.
I like beer. I'm drinking a beer right now. Every time I start this podcast, I'm like, why am I doing this podcast? And then I feel okay about it after we get through.
Yeah, it's good. All right, there you go, Robert.
Did he not ask our deepest darkest? It's like he doesn't even know the future format of our podcast, deepest darkest secret, where we ask your deepest darkest and your lightest, shallowest, and then your moderate secrets.
And then we have to cancel. We have to delete all the episodes after people incriminate themselves in the process. Jake Marangoni asks, I don't know why he's kid "Hey Honey" as his opener for this question, but he did.
That's towards me, I assume.
This is for the Lucas and Zack podcast. What's a movie you initially didn't like on first viewing that upon second, third, or fourth viewing has become one of your favorite films? I will say to start, I don't think I've ever had an experience where a movie I did not like on the first viewing, I've given a third or fourth viewing. I will say on second viewing, movies like Jeff Who Lives at Home and Not Another Teen Movie jumped quite a lot to me on rewatch, especially Not Another Teen Movie, because as you watch more of the teen movies it's parroting, it becomes funnier because you start understanding all the references. Zach, do you have any that fit this?
Once again, I'm trying to look like deep through my things. There's nothing, once again, just like, I'm not going to rewatch something I didn't like so many times. There's things that I have tried to give second chances to, especially if I Marathon. I don't think anything I didn't like is going to become one of my favorite movies. I think that's just insane.
You're right. Go back to what I'm saying. I liked movies. I've gone from not liking movies to liking movies on rewatch. I've never had a jump of like 3 stars on a film. Like I've never seen that situation occur. I think because I'm usually pretty confident about my opinion coming out of the first time, that the only scenarios in where they change between watches are when, there's literally like 4 to 5, 6 years between watches, and those are more rare where I take so long between rewatching films. Zach, do we have any answers for this question?
I mean, one that I wouldn't say I didn't like, but I think I was just like, oh, this is like every other romantic comedy, but I fell for the charm a lot more. It's been Harry Met Sally. The first time I think I watched it with Sarah, who's like not feeling it so affected my liking of it, and I was like, oh, this is fine, and if I watch again, I watch it again. But then I really fell for it and watching all the Nora Ephron movies. I think maybe in context.
I liked it more as well.
The Verdict was a big one. The Verdict is the first time I watched a Paul Newman movie, Sidney Lumet movie. For some reason, that was actually when I probably did not like. It just hit me flat, and somehow I wasn't able to connect to the story. It just seemed like a law case, and I couldn't connect to the character aspects of it. And then the second time, I think in the midst of a Paul Newman, I watched like 25 Paul Newman movies, and I was, more connected to him as an actor than I could, connect more with the character and feel more what he was going for. Rather than I was just like so focused on the plot the first time that isn't like special enough to make an experience. So that's like a legitimate answer. When I went from not liking to like loving and think it's a great movie.
All right, good answer. Matt Queller asks, what is one franchise, actor, actress, or director that you would love to cover all of their movies on the podcast, but your co-host wouldn't want to?
This is like every thing I bring up because you just don't want to do full marathons of anybody, but I don't think there's anyone I like that you don't like though. But you don't have the Wes Anderson interest that I have.
but there are 4 Wes Anderson films I would enjoy covering. There's not. I don't know if we ever. I think the thing is, I would like to cover some. I have an interest in covering a longer marathon, but we need to make sure it's the right one. I think it's tough at times. I would love to cover. I mean, franchises would be interesting. I don't know which one in particular, though. I'm trying to think of a franchise that I've watched that would be outside the mainstream, but also still really interesting. I guess I would have more interest in covering a horror franchise than you, but I also think that doesn't really fit the show as much as I would like it to. Because the problem with like doing a horror franchise is, as much as I enjoy parts of that thing, there are going to be episodes in there of just movies that are just boring and uninteresting. And like the problem with like a bad horror franchise movie is it's not even interesting bad; it's just boring bad. Like there's just some that would be less interesting than others. I'm trying to think of one. I guess I don't know. You probably wouldn't cover Abbott and Costello. That's probably the biggest.
I would be willing to. A whole horror franchise would be near impossible to get me to sign up for. So that would be a good answer for you.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it's like one that. But I don't know if I'd want to do that, because do I really want to talk about the bad, Halloween movies in the middle or something?
Yeah, I do have like dream directors I want to cover in the show that. I have proposed or we want to propose, but I don't think you're necessarily against them. And some I've been pushing for Frank Oz a lot. Mike Nichols is not Mike Nichols. I do this every time. Jeff Nichols. Sorry, Jeff Nichols is someone I really want to do. I know you for sure were. So not anything. I feel like our tastes are similar enough that I'm not going to have like a crazy director you're not going to want to cover. But there's definitely directors I have in mind that I would love to cover at some point. Yeah,
I think the biggest difference is not taste; it's priority. It's that sometimes the stuff that I would want to do first is lower down on your list, and you'd want to really push for stuff first that I would think we should wait a while on. I don't think we really have anything that we're that far apart on, to the point where we're just like, I have no interest in doing that. Some individual movies, maybe
at some point. Like we're gonna have to do Bomb back at some point. There's just some
absolutely love to do.
Destined.
Yeah, I mean,
all these lay-in directors that I love is would be like a real me just trying to push for something that I think you'd be against just out of the esotericness of it all. Is esotericity a word? I was trying to make esoteric a noun.
I think it's esotericism.
Esotericism. Okay, I think that of doing like Pablo Larraín or Sebastian Lelio or doing Asghar Farhadi, I would think you would keep thinking is a little too outside of the community.
I would love
these
Farhadi.
Modern.
I'm more interested in Farhadi than some other people. I would do Farhadi, not do Farhadi. I would do Iranian cinema and mix Farhadi and Majid Majidi together, and I think that would be a really cool month.
I'm about to watch 3 Iranian movies in 2 weeks, so we'll just do a mini month.
I'm actually not against this, but yeah, no. I think also at times, sometimes I have to end up playing the bad guy and be like the person who's like, if we do this month, will anyone on Earth listen to us talk about films that nobody's seen? Because we do see trends if we look at our metrics in terms of if we cover stuff that people have seen, that the majority of people have seen, we do get better views on that. And at the end of the day, the podcast is about what we're interested in. Well, also we would like to have at least some engagement with our audience. If we pick a topic that no one listens to, then basically we just did our own personal marathon. We don't have to record those episodes if we're just going to do a bunch of stuff that no one's going to listen to.
Yeah, because when we do an episode on the Pablo Larraín movie, The Club, about a group of priests who have sexually molested kids all living together in a house.
We're not covering that episode. I'm just saying right now.
I don't think we would have a lot of people watching our show that day. It's good.
We will not be covering that movie. We will not be doing Roman Polanski month. Not happening.
Okay, don't put that in the same thing. It's the content of the movie.
No, I know.
Doing it in a smart way. You're putting Pablo Larraín just agreed the Roman.
I'm not putting them together. I'm just saying that they're both things that I don't think anyone wants.
He's our only listener, Pablo Larraín.
Pablo Larraín. All right, let's jump ahead.
Where's his question?
I don't know. You did someone in. Come on, Pablo. We have 3 questions from Brooklyn Vale, who dropped in 3 pretty good questions. I want to talk about them. Okay. Brooklyn comes first. I think we're going to have a very similar and very quick answer on the first one. What is the bigger oof in movies? Great screenplay with no production value / budget, or vice versa? And I would say screenplay is king. If you have a good screenplay, you can have a cheap movie, and your movie will probably still work. If you can have all the production value and budget in the world. If you have a bad screenplay, it doesn't matter. Screenplay is
I think
king.
we both respond to movies primarily like thematically. So if there's no story, we have nothing to connect to. A movie could be the most, high tech, beautiful looking,
True.
piece of action cinema ever. But if there's no story for me to be attached to, I don't care at all. Watch all our recent reviews of Kong and Justice League, and you can answer that question yourself.
Yep, good point. Second question: what is the final character that's holding back movies based on video games being from good to great? And I would say, for the record, I don't know if they've hit good yet. If we're being completely honest, what do we think is holding back video games movies? I have some thoughts on this. I think part of the problem is we just haven't cracked how to adapt these things to movies. Like we've spent years and years and years cracking the code of how to adapt books to movies, comic books to movies. Like there's all these different adaptation techniques that we've seen and how they've gotten better. I don't know if we really have figured that out for video games. I also genuinely don't know if the majority of video games are applicable to movies beyond the characters. I do think one of the biggest problems that these movies sometimes do is if you're going to make a video game movie, you need to take video game characters and a general tone, and then we're looking at the cat now.
Yeah, he just wanted to be on camera. He asked me.
Hello, cat. I think, but like you should not try to tell the story of the video game, because video game storytelling and movie storytelling are just vastly different. The fact that you are a part of the storytelling in one and watching the storytelling in the other is just such a large barrier that they need to keep separate in terms of the types of storytelling they use.
I think it's because video game storytelling is so overrated and overvalued. And when I play a video game, it's not even what I want. I get mad when they speak for longer than 5 seconds. Come on, Pokemon. I don't care about, what trainer is happening or like what has been saw at this new town. I just want to catch some fucking Pokemon. I think the stories are in the games, in a lot of the movies that have been adapted, aren't even stories. Like you're adapting a movie on Sonic and Mario that's just about the platforming and moving. There's nothing to adapt or to be based on. And I heard this in other podcasts, but trying to adapt to more modern video games that have been story focused, which once again, if I want to watch story, I'll watch a fucking movie. I don't need to play the video game and tell me the story with, half-assed. It's good animation, but still video game animation. It's not the quality I want. But I think because the stories, have been told in the format that is right, people are going to be picky with how they're put on screen.
I also just
think we could why do we want so badly to adapt video games into movies? Why is this something that like people see are necessary? They're like so mad they haven't made good video game movies. Like we're being treated unjustly.
Yeah.
Unjustly. Just like
I understand why the fandoms want it, but I do also think that on some level, part of the problem is that a video game is allowed to build in so much lore and so much explanation. You just don't have the same place for it in movies. But I kind of agree with you. I think that in some ways, either just take characters and then write wholly new story plots and make them for you and for movies, or just like, I don't know, stop trying to adapt something that clearly just doesn't seem to adapt. Like if we had tried to do book adaptations this many times and failed, we might have just stopped adapting books for movies. Like the reason that we keep adapting books for movies is because we keep succeeding. There's at least a high enough success rate of adaptations of books and comic books for there to understand why you keep trying.
It has always seemed like a cheap way to monopolize our profit off of the fandom, right? It's just like selling toys based on the movies. They're making a movie based on a video game that has fans, assuming that you can just make money off of it. I'm pretty cynical about the origins of why you even make video game movies. But then if they're still not making money, then why do you still think this is a good idea? It's not like anyone is so moved by these stories that they like need to tell them on screen. It's just they're just trying to capitalize. That's the word I could not think of earlier. They're trying to capitalize off of the it's video games fans. Here's the thing, video gamers, they like sitting on the couch also and playing video games. That's why they're gamers.
I mean, also, I think that's another good point you just made, which is that clearly the people creating these movies are not interested in the video game because we just don't see the talent turning to try to adapt these things. Like every time these movies come out, it's like somebody's first movie and their only credit before is one TV show or one commercial. It's like if people really wanted to do comic books as movies, we would have high level directors, we would have high level writers trying to jump on these things and break them. And we just don't. We don't even have the cast for them really most of the time. Yeah,
and that's why it took so. Maybe this might come true then, because it took so long for comic books to become, become movies generally, become the main thing that people go to theaters for anymore. Even those like seem like always an obvious idea. Like comics existed since the 20s. Why did it take so long for it to dominate the movie theaters, other than a couple of franchises every now and then? And it's because the people who have really gotten into comic books are now aging into being. True. In their 40s and 50s and becoming directors and to deciding what movies they make. So as, the video game fandom is just kind of still, around our generation, the like main video game generation. So as they evolve into filmmakers and then they go back to what they truly loved, they're inspired by growing up, they'll have more passion with the video game time change. But people, all the main filmmakers in their 50s and 60s don't have any attachment to video games. Yeah. I don't want to speak generalized, but for the most part.
No, but you're right. Maybe the real thing that helps this problem is we wait 10 to 15 years, 20 years until these people, like the people who have the passion for this stuff, are the people in place to do the stories.
Yeah. Just like it's happened with comic books. Just got to wait for the generation to age into, the power.
True, and now comic books have gone from this thing you're like, wow, they're doing an X-Men movie, to now it's like, it's genuinely shocking if they're not 6 movies made on comic books every year. Brooklyn's final question is, what actor/actress's retirement will spark a generational passing of the torch?
Retirement? Do actors ever truly retire?
Very rarely. It's actually
because Daniel Day-Lewis, you could say like as a passing of the torch, but who would he pass his torch to? Like Joaquin Phoenix, which I feel like approve of. That seems like the natural one.
Daniel Day-Lewis can't retire and pass the torch because Daniel Day-Lewis was not acting enough to begin with. Like him retiring is sad because we want more, but also he was doing a movie every like 4 years. So like not like he was super active. I think the actual one, and I'm going to make an interesting case, is Sam Jackson retiring would actually be a legitimate passing of the torch because he is such an impact player in so many different franchises, and he's just a dude who shows up in everything. I do think somebody like that, who is just so present in all movies, retiring is going to legitimately leave an open spot that somebody else or multiple other people would have to take that spot. So Sam Jackson would be the answer I would go with.
I think like Meryl Streep, as far as like a personality of Hollywood, is also like, how do you replace her? Same Tom Hanks, one of these dominant ones. Like, who is the next Tom Hanks? Who's the next Meryl Streep? That's people you kind of just like think are your friends in Hollywood. I have no direct answer for that. I mean, honestly, as far as like persona, different kind of actor than Meryl Streep, but like Emma Stone could like develop into that, like just presence. I can see her aging well.
I don't think Stone becomes a Streep level, because like Stone is fun and people like Stone, but like the respect level that Meryl Streep gets that's going to be hard to replace.
Didn't have it but that took 40 years for her to earn.
Yeah, but Meryl Streep was getting Oscar nominations since the 70s and 80s.
Emma Stone got the Oscar nominations at the same age that Meryl Streep was getting them.
She got one Oscar nomination. No, she doesn't have more than one.
Did she not get nominated for The Favorite?
Was she? Okay, maybe she was. Did I miss this?
She had 3. She has La La Land, Favorite, and Birdman.
Oh, yeah.
You're just coming out like a dumbass, right?
Oh, okay, but here's the thing. This actually plays into my point, which is that you don't remember she was nominated for these movies.
I did.
No, but like she doesn't have the reputation. But she doesn't have the reputation for somebody who's like an Oscar player in the same way. I think there are other actors who could actually fill that role maybe better. I think Saoirse Ronan might be a more likely candidate to replace Streep than Stone.
No, because she's more like a Cate Blanchett type.
Potentially,
like
but also
actor.
But she's pulled up so many Oscar nominations at this point, like especially from a young age, that I think she could be a real player. But yeah, I think that yeah, these are all good answers. It's going to be anyone who has. I mean, Tom Cruise is going to be The Rock. Anyone who's big is going to be hard to replace, especially because at this point, the longevity we see from actors being stars is so much longer, I feel like, than previous generations. Like we have less people, acting till they're 40 and then dropping out. Like so many people are continuing 50s, 60s, 70s, at least on the same level as they used to be. Like in the past, you'd see people would act at their older age, but they wouldn't act them that they wouldn't be at the same height. They would taper down. And you don't see that taper down with people. Sam Jackson is as famous now as he was in 1994. Like there's not a downward taper. He hasn't become the older actor who appears in one movie every couple years.
Because I have answers going, through my head, but every time, like, I don't respond this time because I have more I want to say, so don't interrupt me. But like, what came was like, oh, because you said Tom Cruise, I was like, who's like most like Tom Cruise? I was like, guess like Chris Evans kind of having like a Tom Cruise like career, in a way, especially like constantly trying to prove himself, in a way that Tom Cruise I feel like always has. But the issue that I come across is that like, every time I would just imagine you applying, but they're not as big of a star, just like you did with Emma Stone, as Tom Cruise was a day, because there is no big stars anymore. There's anyone in their 40s does not equate to how big Tom Cruise was in his prime or how big Denzel was in his prime. It's just a little more milder, and I think just more expansive in a way. Like we just have more actors we know and performers, or we tie them to specific characters, but not tie them to like an actor that is like can sell a movie.
Mm-hmm. Denzel is one that, like, him retiring could legitimately pass the torch to either his son or to like a Michael B. Jordan. Like, because I think like there are more direct
this is
people
already done. It's Darren Kaluuya, and I think he's on his way to be as big of a name as Denzel. I think he's really making a name for himself. I think he's just a better actor and more respected than the other two you mentioned. Like Oscar-wise, respected.
Yeah, but
maybe not as interested.
Michael B. Jordan is a way bigger star than Kaluuya is, and that's Denzel is.
I think Kaluuya is getting there. I don't even think that's true.
Maybe. I think
you underrate how big a deal Get Out is.
No, it is, but like, come on, it's not in the comparison to Black Panther and Creed. Like, it's not even close.
I think it is. I think it
is. In the hardcore fan community. In the hardcore film community, sure. But if you're actually talking to people off the street, a lot of them probably never even saw Get Out. Versus,
I disagree. I'm going to go out to the street. I'm going to take my mic with me. I'm going to go ask, do you know what Get Out is?
All right, don't make me do this to you. I don't want to dunk on you so easy.
Don't look at box office numbers. It's not going to prove anything.
No, things
build up reputation. No, things build up reputation off of this. Get Out has gotten so memeified and became part of the culture outside of box office. People watch movies at home, jackass. Just because it didn't succeed in this. Yeah, you're going to look up the fucking Godfather didn't make as much money as Black Panther. Does that mean it doesn't have the cultural
If you adjust
resonance?
for inflation, it did.
Okay, but you get my point. There's movies that didn't make tons of money that still have such cultural resonance.
No, I understand your point. I do think that saying Kaluuya is as big a star as Michael B. Jordan is a laughable statement right now. I do think he has the potential to get there. He certainly has more Oscar play right now. I think the real question that I was going to say is if Kaluuya needs a role in something big to jump him to the next level.
He has! I just said it. He also was in fucking Black Panther that you brought up.
But he's not the character you remember from Black Panther.
I don't remember. I mean, it's something cool.
He's like the he's like the sixth or seventh most popular character in that film.
No one's eyes is as good as Darren Kaluuya in Black Panthers.
Maybe he gets a bigger role in the second Black Panther, and that jumps him up to more of a Michael B. Jordan level. But I think right now,
he's like exiled. It's like it took a villainous turn.
It's true. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think Get Out is as big as you think it is. I think it's quite big, but I think it still has a niche, and it's not mainstream popular at the way.
I think it's like top 5 non-superhero movies as far as how they affected the culture in the past decade.
But there's a difference between affects the culture and receive widespread popularity. Because I do agree it's really impactful.
I think they're similar.
I think they're similar, but I think there are differences. I think Black Panther's Get Out is a little more niche than something like a Black Panther or Creed. Let us continue on. So I threw a couple questions in at the end I wanted to talk about, which is, first off, what's the best episode or episodes we did? Let's talk about some of our best episodes.
I feel like we have different definitions. I like the ones that go off the rails and ridiculous. Like I firmly think Robert Parker is one of our best guests we can have, and I love the episodes we've done with him because that's where I just have the most fun, just riffing and he indulges in my like crazy shit. But then like my favorite episode, I think maybe because I just latched onto it and I just like this movie, the whole movie is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I think that's where we, in a way, found our voice and how we can connect on certain movies together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just our, I don't want to say insightful, but therapeutic for me, just as the movie was, to kind of discuss that in details. And probably, yeah, not one of the super listened to ones because people don't respect that movie like it deserves. But I think there's a lot to get out of that. And I like to think that my specific take on the movie helps reveal it to other people and hopefully makes people appreciate it a little more. And we all kind of mind that, yeah.
I will throw out a couple. I really like the Music Man episode we did. I really like the Eurovision episode we did. I really like the It's a Wonderful Life episode we did with Robert Parker. I really like the Manchester by the Sea and the Paddington 2. I think in the Lucas and Zack month was the one where I think we had some of our best episodes, just because I think those movies are particularly fertile for takes and opinions to be shared on.
Yeah. I mean, I just have a lot of fun doing episodes where me and you seem like we're championing something that's less big, whether it be Beautiful Day or like The Commitments. It was just fun to do that.
That's a good episode, yeah.
Of something kind of underseen.
Yeah, I love championing stuff. And the second question is: are there episodes we regret, either in whole or in parts? I will say
have the same answer for this.
I to this day regret that we Mike Hanley, we owe you a deepest apology for asking you to be on the show for Greyhound, which is a movie that we scheduled at the end of the Tom Hanks run, knowing it was the only 2020 on out yet, and we knew you were the only one who'd seen it, and we didn't really know about the film, and we watched it, and we had no takes, and so we unfortunately dragged a wonderful guest named Mike Hanley onto a show on a movie where there's nothing to talk about, and it is not interesting, and neither of us liked the film. I will say, the other one that we shouldn't have watched done is we should have just not done an extra episode at the end of, or we should have done a different episode. We should not have done the Addams Family, animated Addams Family, because that movie is just not very good.
This is how we learn our more mistakes early. I don't think we've repeated like mistakes like that as far as movies we really didn't want to cover. For our own mental health, we should have not have done Justice League commentary.
That was a good. It worked in terms of the response to it was good. The ones that talk about Greyhound and like Addams Family is like, we didn't like those movies, and clearly no one in our audience did either, because no one listened to those episodes. And I wanted to end the show. Do you have any questions? You have a question you'd like us to answer or ask? Zach, do you have anything?
Oh, God, no, I was not prepared for this. I had to brainstorm. I need 24 hours ahead of things. Thank you.
All right, good. We have one last question. This has been an hour already. It's a good final question. We're just going to rank all the movies. We've talked about all 51, including 3 that are upcoming that have not been released yet. Let's go 51. Let's start at 51 and work our way back.
This list are all available on our Letterboxd for people who care.
All right, we're gonna go back and forth.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 51. You go. We'll do like snake draft style, right?
Did you hit that this includes the ones?
Yes, I did.
Months that have not. Get out of my fucking screen. I'm the star, Cat, not you.
Yes, there are 3 more movies. The 3 final movies of Stanwyck month are listed here and will be upcoming this month. Let's go 51 to 1. I will start at 51. My number 51 is Addams Family.
No, that's surprising to me. Okay. My number 51 is Greyhound. We just talked about this. Was the biggest mistake.
My number 50 is Greyhound.
Okay, my 50 is Man on Fire.
Ooh, you hate that more than I do. My number 50. My number 49 is Godzilla vs. Kong.
Hey, I thought you liked that movie.
No, I did not like that movie.
Okay, my 49 was, I forget our episode. My 49, Godzilla vs. Kong. We didn't take a drink every time we match up. There's nothing in this can.
Got water. Yay. My number 48 is Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Hey, you get that below me too. I don't even think it's that you like that movie better than me. I think these other movies I just don't like more than you. Mainly Man of Fire. I just really hate.
You really gave it a lower. Okay. So what is your 48?
Addams Family.
Okay, my 47 is Without Remorse. Tom Clancy's Without Remorse.
You're just one ahead of me on everything. My 47 is Justice League.
Okay. My number 46 is Man on Fire.
Okay, now we're all lined up. My 46 is Without Remorse. So our bottom 6 is exactly the same in different order.
Yep, and I think that's like the movies that if we look back on, we were like, we I mean, to be fair, I'm fine with the reviews. The other ones we did.
I think these are the only ones I've given negative reviews to. Everything else is at least a 6 out of 10.
All right. My number 45 is The Terminal.
The Terminal is my 45. Are we the same person?
Well, we have definitely become more of the same person. Sure. My number 44 is Paranorman.
Okay, this is our biggest difference. Our biggest disparity, I think, between rankings, which is my 44 is Unstoppable.
Which is going to be way higher, just say it. My number 43 is from the Small Axe collection, Alex Wheatle.
My 43 for the same marathon. Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Interesting. The original or the remake?
Oh, no, the remake.
Okay. My number 42 is Meet John Doe.
I'm confused how we're at 50 episodes when we have 4 movies in one episode with Small Axe, but I'll do that math later. Okay. That's a big difference. I have Meet John Doe a lot higher than you then too. Well, not a lot higher, but good bet. My
Oscars
42 is
the answer, Zach.
Okay, thank you. My 42 is Top Gun.
Okay, my number 41 is from the Small Axe collection, Education.
You have these low. I'm not happy with that. Okay.
I have 2 of them low.
Yeah, that's a bad take. My 41 is Nonstop.
Okay, also a little higher. My number 40 is Top Gun.
My 40 is The Wrong Man.
Okay, that's fair. My number 39 is Family Plot from Hitchcock.
My 39 is Hotel Transylvania.
I have a little higher. My number 38 is Sully.
My number 38, one of my bigger surprises is something I like Deja Vu.
I have only a little bit higher. My number 37 is Hotel Transylvania.
You have a lot of things way too low. Do I even have Sully on this list? Okay, there it is. My 37 is Family Plot.
Okay. My number 36 is Air Force One.
My 36 is Alex Wheatle.
My number 35 is Deja Vu.
My 35 is The Music Man because I don't even remember the 48 hours
honestly,
I had to watch this.
Honestly, mine is not that much higher. My number 34 is the remake of the Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. You have that high. I didn't realize you liked it that much. Okay.
Good it's still a 3.5 stars. It's about to.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Okay. My 34 is Air Force One.
My number 33 is The Wrong Man, which is, I think, the movie that dropped the most for me on rewatch of the series.
Yeah. Yeah. My 33 is Meet John Doe.
My number 32 is Borat's subsequent movie film.
Almost took a drink. My 32 is The 39 Steps.
We're now at
my 8 out of 10. So all top 32 are at least 8 out of 10. It's like a B plus A minus.
I caught my 8 out of 10 starts at 33.
I think you're a tougher ranker than me. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe
no,
I need to look. I need to look at our layout of ratings.
We have different. If you look at our top 10s, I think is where we really differ.
Yeah, my top 10s are all 10 out of 10s. Yeah,
you're not gonna like this. My 31 is the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
I know this.
Why do you do that episode if you're such a hater?
Because you really wanted to do it.
That was a good. That's my favorite episode.
I do think that one of the biggest.
It was just like 30 minutes of me doing a bit.
I was just like, I like the rock bit. That's my favorite. All right, continue.
Where are we at? 31, 30?
31.
Oh, mine's Borat. I was one away.
Okay. My number 30 is Frankenweenie.
My 30 is Education. So that's our biggest difference for it. I had like 20 spots higher than you.
No, our biggest difference is Unstoppable. 100%.
Well, I mean, so far is it? Because you haven't said Unstoppable.
Like, my number 29 is Big, the movie that started it all.
My 29, Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, the original.
Ooh, I got that hard. My number 28 is The Music Man.
My 28, Sully, your route to our great American hero.
My number 27 is Nonstop, which is a trend of movies that Lucas likes.
That's so high.
I really like that so much. It's so stupid.
My 27 is Paranorman.
Yeah, you like that a lot more than me. I didn't get to say that month might be the biggest one where you like more stuff more than me. My number 26 is the 39 Steps.
That month.
Yeah, this really is.
My 26 is Red, White, and Blue.
Oh, I feel like really close there. My number 25 is Once.
My 25, Poe, 13.
My number 24 is Red, White, and Blue.
Okay, my 24, Beg.
My number 23 is Ball of Fire.
Okay, this is one where I feel like could be a lot low for you, which is my 23 is Double Indemnity. Where are my nines?
It's a lot higher for me. I have not gotten to my nines yet. My number 22 is Eurovision Song Contest, the story of Fire Saga.
Rude. I really haven't.
You like that movie more than me. I know you do.
My 22 is Emmett Otter's Jugband Christmas 50th
Rude.
episode Jubilee celebration.
That's a higher more. My number 21 is The Taking of Pelham 123, the original.
My 21, Crimson Tide. That's not a surprise.
We have that higher. My number 20 is Christmas in Connecticut.
My number 20, Eurovision Song Contest.
It's literally 2 spots ahead of me, so not really rude. My number 19, Apollo 13.
I didn't realize you loved that movie that much. Okay.
I really do on it.
Yeah. Okay, 19. Remember when I didn't remember the ending of Apollo 13? Because that's my favorite personal moment on the show.
Great moment.
And my number 19 is Rebecca.
My number 18 is The Lady Eve, and we have now reached the 4.5 star. I do need to
asshole.
It really needs to rewatch. It's just I think it struggles because I've seen the other ones a lot more.
Okay, my 18 is Mangrove.
I have a little higher. My number 17 is Wolfwalkers.
My 17 is Manchester by the Sea.
That's way higher for me. My number 16 is Lovers Rock.
My 16 is School of Rock. It's basically the same thing.
That's
what about School of Lovers Rock?
That's close to me. My number 15 is Emmett Otter's Jugband Christmas.
15, Ball of Fire.
My number 14 is School of Rock.
14, Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Rare Rabbit.
Nice. My number 13 is Unstoppable.
Fucking insane. Get the hell out of here. Oh, goodness. You have classics like Eurovision below that. I can't believe you. Okay. 13, Frankenweenie.
My number 12 is Rebecca.
12. I Love You, Man.
My number 11 is I Love You, Man.
That's why we did. We haven't said so. Okay. My number 11, Christmas in Connecticut, went way up for me on our recent watch, and probably should be higher.
My number 10 is Crimson Tide.
My number 10, Psycho.
My number 9, Mangrove.
My number 9, Wolfwalkers. We're in a new release time now.
My number 8, The Commitments.
My 8, Lovers Rock. Not to
my number 7,
School of Lovers Rock.
Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
My number 7, The Rightful Place for the Great Guy, Charlie Brown and his dog Snoopy. All Linus wants is for people to believe in his conspiracy theory. Good guy.
Number 6, Double Indemnity.
My number 6, Paddington 2.
Jesus, I have it ahead of you. Number 5, Psycho.
We are literally in my top 50 movies now.
I know.
Last 5
this is more of your favorites than mine.
Yeah, it's like I really push for certain episodes. My number 5 is The Commitments.
Nice. My number 4, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
My number 4, Once.
Nice. That's way higher for you than me. Number 3, Paddington 2.
Number 3, It's a Wonderful Life.
Number 2, Manchester by the Sea.
Number 2, way too low. My personal top 100. It should be higher, and it's been up a lot on rewatch. The Lady Eve.
Number 1, It's a Wonderful Life.
Number 1, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
And with that, we have come to the end of our wonderful Q&A. Thank you to everyone for listening for the first 50 episodes. Please listen to more episodes so that Zach and I don't hate ourselves doing this.
And when we get to our top 100, you can just do the same exact thing with 100 movies.
Absolutely. With that being said, enjoy the episode on Saturday. We will see you later. Peace out, guys.